All right, folks, so let's get started with the webinar today. I want to thank everyone and welcome you to attending yet another in a series of webinars presented by B2W Software. As you can see on the screen, the topic today is the bid is complete, what's next? So we'll be showing you ways to handle some of the other things that need to be done after you win the bid, because we know that winning the bid is just a beginning step in a long list of work that now comes into place and after you get the bid in place. We'll do some introductions first. Here we'll go to the next screen, and my name is Mark Hooks. I'm one of the solutions engineers here at B2W Software. You'll be hearing my voice most of the demonstration today. Alongside me is Anthony Salvatore. Anthony's also one of the solutions engineers here, and he's going to be taking more of a silent role. Anthony's going to take care of the questions panel. So if you have questions, you can use that panel to ask questions as we go along. We'll do our best to answer your questions as we go, but sometimes if the question's really geared toward your company alone, we may choose to contact you directly after the webinar. So the agenda, first we'll have a quick discussion about B2W Estimate, and then we'll get into today's main subject. We'll have some time at the end of today's presentation also to answer a few questions that might not be covered during the demonstration today. So just to hit some of the bullets, we're going to talk about the estimating system first. Just a real brief discussion, mainly for the attendees that may not be familiar to the software. B2W Estimate is an enterprise class estimating and bidding solution. It provides centralized cost data and structures along with specialized functionality for estimating and bidding. It's a very intuitive, easy to use application. B2W Estimate can maximize accuracy and speed and standardize the estimating process. All of this allows estimators to focus more attention on strategy and win more bids at better margins. So just some of the things that we'll hit as we go through the main topic today. We're going to talk first about exporting the bid. Excuse me. B2W Estimate exports out to 35 plus accounting systems. Processes such as Microsoft Project, Primavera, Excel, even our own B2W operations platform, just to name a few of the things that we're going to talk about today. So the main topic is the bid is complete, what's next? So let's get into the subject. Actually, we're going to open up B2W Estimate from here so you can see the home page. And here is the home page for B2W Estimate. Now, the webinars are pretty short when we're doing a 30-minute webinar today. So I'm going to have to go pretty quickly, but I think we'll have enough time to get through all the things that I want to show you. So the process is you have won the bid. What else can we do for you? Let's start with exports to your accounting software. As I mentioned, we export the winning bid to over 35 different accounting packages, which can save you hours of data entry and decrease potential errors in transposing those numbers into your accounting system if you're doing it manually. In B2W Estimate, it starts with the cost or phase codes. We call that our job cost ID, and we're going to take a look at that here in just a second inside the bid. But just to kind of give you that perspective, any level you want, we allow cost or phase codes down to the labor types, the equipment types, the crews, task, or at the bid item level. So no matter what level of detail you want to push over to the accounting system after you've won the bid, we can handle that. So we're going to open up an estimate and kind of go through those processes. I'm going to pick on my Holly Hill Project Phase 2 bid here. So this is the contents of the bid and all the tabs that you would work in inside B2W Estimate. We're going to leave the cover page and we're actually going over to the item listing tab. Now, with just a little column configuration, you can see here the cost or phase codes that I have for each item. For today's demonstration, we're going to just present the cost or phase codes at the item level. So once the job is set up in your accounting system, I need to get my estimated and budgeted information over there. So rather than having to hand enter the data, I can use our built-in export tool to push the estimate out. So I simply go right here and go to what we refer to as the export estimate detail function. Now, when I open up this wizard, These are just some of the options we have. As I mentioned, 35 plus accounting systems, Project, Primavera, lots of ways we can push the information out so that you're not manually entering that data into those secondary systems. So today I'm actually going to let me pick on my Dexter Cheney export. So what I'm going to do is just hit the button. You've configured the information the way that you want to push it out to Dexter Cheney. You hit next. You tell the system where you want to put that file. You hit next and hit finish. And it actually just did an error check there. I did a great job. There's no errors in my export, but it would also tell you if you're missing the information you need to successfully push this information out. So we're scrubbing that export again so you're not having to do it manually. You hit OK, and we're actually going to go out to my desktop. So let me go out to the desktop here and go grab that file. Now, this is a comma-separated text file that's been designed specifically for Dexter Cheney Services Spectrum. So when I open it up, you can see there's a lot of data here. We start with project-level data for each of your cost codes, the line item that's associated, the pricing. Here I've got it broken out for labor, equipment cost. So again, lots and lots of information that you would have to enter manually without this export. So really now all you have to do is import this file, done and done, saving you truly hours of time in getting your budgetary and estimated information out to your accounting system. All right, so that's the first export we've looked at. Now let's talk about sending the information to the most popular third-party scheduling programs. We can export the estimated information, including durations, resources, and costs to processes like Microsoft Project, SureTrack, Primavera. And over the years as a trainer for the company, I've seen folks spend so much time getting the bid information into these products. You'll see this will save you literally hours or even days in data entry. So let's take the same bid and send it out to Microsoft Project. So we do the same process. We go here. We're going to export the detail of this estimate. Inside the wizard, now I'm going to scroll down to my Microsoft Project XML export. Same process. I hit next, tell the system where I want to save the file, hit next, hit finish. And that fast, it tells me it's been a successful export. And again, we go back to my desktop. Now we're grabbing a file that's been designed specifically for Project. Now I've got mine set up to even save a few steps here. I don't have to import that file into Project. I just double click on it. It'll open up Microsoft Project and we'll say, yep, this is a brand new project. We hit finish. And now all the hours that people usually spend getting that information in, now you're seeing every item, every task, every duration that you had in that bid is now sitting inside Project. It's fully resource loaded. If I go into a crew, I'll pop that open. You can see that this is even cost loaded as well. So there's your resources also with your cost. So instead of having to manually enter that data in, all you have to do now is mess with your predecessors, your start, your finish dates, and you've set up the critical path of this job. So I think you can see how much time we can save you on sending these bits of information out into the third-party products as well. So let's talk about another export. We'll shut this one down here and go back in, and we'll take a look at sending information out to Excel. We know Excel is an incredibly useful tool. If you need to send the bid information to Excel, we can do that as well. Now, in fact, all of the reports that we're going to be looking at here in a bit can be exported out in multiple formats, including Excel. So it's one way that we can get the information out is to look at one of our standard reports and export that out in the appropriate format. But we have another way to send the estimated information to Excel that gives you a little more customizations as far as getting what you want out of the system. So back here on the item listing tab, we're going to set the tabs up the way you want to see the data to get it out to Excel. So again, I'm going to right click across the top and I'm going to do some customizing of these columns. So here's the columns that I have in place. Well, maybe I don't want that, comment column. And when I hit add, in our system, there's over 150 columns that you can now set up to customize your view. And this is a per user setting. So if you want to do this once and have it there the next time, you don't have to do this every time you come into the system. So if I scroll down, Maybe I want to see some equipment costs for each of these line items. We'll add in some labor costs, maybe some man hours, material cost. You hit OK. You rearrange these however you want them to sit on the screen in the background. You hit OK. And now pretty much I've set this up for the way that I want to process this information out to Excel. So all you do from here is you come up and you hit that top box to highlight the page. You hit the copy button at the top. And now I'm going to come in, I'm going to open up Microsoft Excel, open up a brand new raw workbook, and highlight and paste. And we'll pop those open so you just kind of see the information that I just dropped in. So the way that you set up the screen, you've now really, in essence, you've created your own custom Excel report from the estimate. So that's how easy it is to push the information out from the estimating program into Excel. That's really useful if some of the reports that you may want to get out may have information that you don't want others to see. So this is a way for you to set up your columns, set up the information you want to push out to your customers or other people within the company. Again, processing that information in a lot of different ways after you've won the bid. All right, the next export we're going to talk about is related to DOT bids. So I'm going to close this down and we're going to go back into the system. B2W Estimate works very well with DOT bidding systems. We have multiple exports for bidding with different states. I'm going to talk about BidX or Expedite as an example, but again, we import and export information for multiple state systems. In this place, in this essence, the process starts with importing that BidX or Expedite file in, which if you export it from that BidX program, it's a CSV file. So that would be here. We would import those pay items. And from here, you're going to see that, as I mentioned, multiple different states have their own utilities that we've built into our system so we can import and export those pay items in the way that they want to see them. So if I import this Expedite transfer link file, what it will do is create what you're seeing in the background: item numbers, line numbers, descriptions, quantities, price logs. All that information is going to come in automatically when you import that file. We even have the ability to point the incoming file inside what we call our item databases, where you may have those items pre-built with crews and things. So really, functionally, it's awesome because we can bring in not only the line items, but it will populate any of your default resources in there as well. Now, once the bid is done, let's go back kind of the topic for today. You've won the bid. What do? You need to get this information back out to Expedite. So it's one, your prices are in place. We can now push that back out in the same file format that we imported it in with. And that will include, again, all of the final item and bid pricing. That's going to really decrease, again, the error potential for when you're taking that information if you had to manually enter it into those DOT systems. So now the way you do that is you would export your pay items, not the detail. Now we're just exporting the pay items with the information we need to get back out to the DOT systems. So you hit the button, and again, it's going to ask you where you want to store the file. We'll put it on my desktop, hit save, and it'll tell you again, was it successful? The export's out there. And one more time, we'll go back out to my desktop. Now we grab that file, open it up, and I'll show you all the information that we sent out that would be respectful to what you need to get back into your DOT systems, and there it is. So again, saving you a huge amount of time in all aspects of having, again, one central place to enter the data in the bid, but really now multiple different systems that we can push this information in to save you a huge amount of time after you've won the bid. Now we'll take a look at our own operations suite of products, and this would be to set up the job. So again, I'm going to go back into the estimating product and open that back up. B2W Operations is our suite of products designed to manage the job after the bid's been won. And we'll take a look at that in just a second. First, let's get all the estimated information over there to create the job you're going to manage. And for us, it's not a flat file export. We built all of our own products. We know how to make them talk to each other. So one button here at the top of the page sends all of the estimated information over. It error checks to see if anything is missing based on the parameters that you've set up in this estimate. So right now what it's doing is scrubbing the bid, making sure that we've given all the information. And also what it's doing too is you have the ability to tell the system how you want to track this job over and above the way you bid it. So it's making sure that you've got everything set up in the background appropriately to do that. And again, it did a great job. The export's completely successful. So I'm going to hit OK there. And now we're going to go over to our operations suite of products and show you what just happened. Here, if I click the button, this is B2W Operations. It's our operational suite of products. And you'll see there's really three products here. There's B2W Schedule, where we can schedule your resources, your equipment moves out to the different job sites that you create. Here, B2W Track allows you to track your production, effort, time, material, subs trucking in the field. But not only that, it gives you an immediate comparison between how you bid the work and how the guys are doing the work in real time. And we also have an equipment maintenance program that's not just for your equipment fleet, but also any asset that you need to maintain, repair, do preventative maintenance on. Now, unique to B2W software, all of these products share one single central SQL database. So they'll share the information that we just pushed over. I don't have to push the job over 3 times to have it in there. One button pushed all the information over. So let's go take a look and see what we just pushed. When I go to the jobs area, what you're going to see here are all the active jobs that you're running at any given time. There's the job that we just pushed over, so we're going to go in there and take a look and show you what it just did. It's created all the elements of the back end of this job. It's pushed over the job number. That's the one that would be coordinated with your accounting system with the job that you set up. For the scheduling system, it's already created my primary job site, but I can create more if I need more than that. Also in the attachments area, you'll notice here that up to 5 B2W Estimate reports can also come over as well. So you can launch those reports right here, but they come in automatically to give that information to the guys who are going to be running the job. Across the top, you'll see the pay items. All your pay are now estimate items that are situated here just exactly the way that you bid that work out. The tracking accounts have been created on the way that you want to present this to the guys who are going to be tracking the work in the field. So if you bid it differently than the way you wanted to track it, you'll notice that mine has actually consolidated work across the bid to give me fewer buckets of cost for the guys to track. But again, you determine how that does, but it came in automatically. We sent over a full material list from the bid. We've sent over all your subs and vendors and their associated work and the services that they're going to do. All that information's there. So really, in one click, we've taken all the information and pushed it over, so there really is no manual entry to start tracking, scheduling, and maintaining this job. All right, so that's how we can push to our own operations platform. Let's go take a look at some of the reports within the estimating system as well. So back here in the estimate, we have, I think, 76 plus reports in this estimate. So if I hit the button here, and I go to print reports, these are the reports that have been generated within this specific bid. So these are bid specific reports. So you'll see we have a host of bid closing reports. We've got about 20 different ways that you can look at the costing detail breakdown in this bid. We've got equipment detail reports, item, job cost, labor, material, subs, vendors, even a host of work order reports, again, that we designed to give to the guys in the field. Now, 76 is a lot. So as you start looking through the reports and find the ones that you're going to need to analyze and make this job work after the bid, then you can right-click and add them to your favorites list. That way, the next time you come in, there's your short list. Again, that's a user-defined short list of reports. We also have another feature here. Now, you can hit preview for any single report and pull it up on screen. We also have another feature here called report bundles. Report bundles are basically so that I can chain reports together. Maybe I have, when I'm doing my bid closing, there's 3 reports I always need to look at. Well, I can run them individually, or I can create them as report bundles. Now when I preview this, and I'll preview that bundle for you, what it's doing, it's actually taking all those reports that I need to look at as a whole and producing them on screen. So instead of opening and closing and an open and closing, I now have my bid closing summary, which is my cost and pricing summary in each of my line item information. If I go a couple pages deep, I can see that I also have my bid summary report, which again gives me a different perspective on the bid closing of the bid. And I go a couple pages deep, and I now have my item summary report, which is a line item by line item detail on exactly what my quantity, man hours, crew days, unit, and total for labor, equipment, all the way to markups. So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to get all this information compiled as quickly as we can. You do the evaluation either while you're processing the bid or again after the bid's complete. Everything's right there. So now we're going to look at a little bit different way to look at reports. That's reports across the entire estimate. We can also do a more focused look at reports. So I'm going to leave this screen. I'm going to go into my Estimate Detail tab. The Estimate Detail tab here again shows me all the line items. Whatever I click on here, I can see that on screen with a full cost breakdown. I'm going to do a little bit of grouping on the page though. I'm going to go up to Filters and Groups, and I'm going to group this by work type. You'll notice all my line items are now grouped in their respective work type. So in this scenario, let's just kind of think through. I've got pipe items in this bid, and I want to give the pipe guys only the information they need for the work that they're going to be doing. Well, instead of printing out 20 pages to get them what they need, we now can print the reports either for a single line item or specific grouped areas of the bid. So you'll notice here I have a few line items under pipe. I can choose to highlight here, and when I right click, I get the print prompt. Same reports, but now when I print them, they're going to look a little differently. So I'm going to pick on that work order report, and I'm going to preview that. Rather than seeing every line item in my bid, I now am just seeing the line items that I want to see under that specific grouping. So here's my line items for my trench, excavation, install, pipe, and backfill. I go to the next page, I can see line items, notes, fully loaded on, in this case, this one I've got it set up so that I can see all the details of what I did to that crew. So when I hand it off to the foreman, he knows what he's supposed to do, what his production is, cost codes. I've even got this one loaded in so that as I pick a vendor for material, the guy knows who he's going to get the materials from. Any subcontractors would show up on this report. So again, all of this is saving time and now paper to get the information to the guys that need it. Okay, so those are reports within an estimate. We also have another way to look at reports as well. It's called management reporting. And this is all about cross-bid reporting. So I'm going to leave and go to a different piece of the system. This is our management reporting feature. In the Enterprise Edition, what we do for this feature is that we take all of your bids and we put them into a central data warehouse for reporting purposes. So this gives me the ability to look across my estimates for trends and analytics, not just in a single estimate, but across every bid. A lot of filtering, grouping functionality here. Let me open my bid schedule report and show you an example. When I go into my bid schedule report, this is every bid that I've ever done in the system that quick, showing me just high-level information about each of those estimates. This is where I can say, well, I need to see those by status, and maybe I only want to see those during a certain time frame. Or within only show me maybe I only want won and lost status or pending status or whatever I'm looking for. Maybe I'm looking for a specific division or I want to look at cross divisions. But now when I view the report, it's the same report, but now I've got it grouped in a functional way. I can come in and say, well, these are my change order bids. These are my bids I have in progress. And again, showing me all that same information, but now they're grouped the way I want to see them. Another nice feature of these reports, we also build sub-reports in here. So if I want to look at maybe we'll look at my $1 billion bid here, it'll actually go in to that large bid and immediately I can see the full breakdown of each of the line items within that estimate, including quantity, overall cost, unit cost, unit price, total price, and markup percentage. A couple of the other ways that you can utilize this feature. I'm going back to the home page here. Maybe you want to look at analytics about how your wins and losses are going across bids. So we have a win-loss history report. What this one will do, and I've actually got some grouping already preset in this one. I've got this one preset to group by estimator. So I can see for each of my estimators, bids won, bids lost, dollars won, dollars lost. Again, all that information right there for you after you put your bids out the door and get your bids out. Couple other bids reports that you have here. We also have a bid schedule calendar, which is very handy. This one, the calendar will show up and you can run it over any time frame, but the calendar's showing up with bids and what their bid date is, what their due date, when do we need to have this bid out the door. So if I need to drill into one of those bids, I can do that from here again and review the bid, high level information. Another nice thing about the reports here is you can also set up subscriptions. So if I wanted this bid schedule calendar showing me what bids we've already produced or what bids are coming up for the next week, I can actually set up subscriptions and have that emailed to me or anybody I want. Maybe it needs to be on my desktop every Monday morning at 8 o'clock. But, trending, we can do that. How have I used vendors across my multiple bids? How have I used my resources, my crews, my labor types and things across multiple bids? Even item history. How have I used a specific line item across multiple bids so I can see those averages and see how maybe I can tune it up to make it better for the next bid I put out. So again, this is all about cross bid reporting, taking reporting to an entirely new level over and above single bid reports. All right, we've gone through most of the expert reports. Now we're going to look at an area called market analysis. So I'm going to go back into my bid, close out these reports, get out of there and go to the home page. And now you'll see here under market analysis, there's really two areas. Bid schedules is a tool that allows you to map out potential bids. Bid results is a strategic tool that allows you to store and compare bid results from your competitors. And that's both at the bid level and also at the item level for those public bids where you can get that information. We're going to focus on, since we're talking about what happens after the bid, we're going to focus on bid results today. So I'm going to click in there and just show you what the system looks like. These again are all my bids, and you'll see these are the ones that I've actually stored competitors' pricing against. So I can see what position I was, first place, lowest bidder. And when I open this up, I'm going to pick on that regional development bid. When I open it up, you can see that I have pricing both at the bid level, but also I have pricing at the item level. So that way, if you can get to things like those public bids, then you can store and see how you compare and how you're laid out over and above your competitors. Now, there's a report also that's in here that's very nice too. If I go to File and Print Reports, then basically it's going to pull up and show me a report that I can set for a date range for market analysis. So I can say, well, give me a little more data in there. I hit OK. And now, given the date range I gave that market analysis report, it's going to show me the bids that we put out during that time period, show me the customer information, who the primary estimator was, the bid date. It's going to show my price. It's going to show my position in the bidding process. It's also going to show me my win-loss difference between me and the guy who won the bid. And it's also going to show my bidder's name with all of their individual pricing for their entire bids. So again, I can run this over any time period to give me analytics on how we've been doing against my closest competitors. So again, you can see how all the information that we gather really never goes to waste. By compiling and organizing all the estimate data, we will save you hours in time in reviewing and processing your estimate. And it really all comes down to a single point of entry feeding into accounting, operations, reporting, scheduling, Excel, whatever you need to fit into. It's one central data processing point that does all that work for you. Well, guys, that was a lot of information in a small window of time. So hopefully you've gotten some tips on ways to save time and money after the bid using B2W Estimate. So let's go back to the world of PowerPoint here for a second. We do have time for questions. I know that we're right at the 1:30 mark for this 30-minute demonstration today, but we do have time. If you didn't get questions in already, you can put those questions in. We'll take care of those for you. While we're waiting on those, this is a series of webinars called 30-Minute Expert Series. The next webinar that's coming up is the paperless equipment inspection. That one's going to be on Wednesday, January 9th. So keep a lookout for some information on that and login information there as well. Also, if you do want more information on any of the features that you saw today, if you want to call our sales department for a more in-depth demonstration about the different features, we'd be glad to do that for you. For any of our existing customers, you always know you can call our support department if you have any questions. And we'll also email you a link to this recorded session. So if there's folks that couldn't make it to the demonstration today, you'll be able to give them a link and they'll be able to go and listen to my voice for another half an hour. So ultimately, guys, we want to thank you for attending. I want to thank Anthony for manning the questions panel. Again, thank you for attending these webinars. We enjoy presenting the data to you. And for all of our customers that are out there, we hope to see you at our user conference in March. So if there's no questions, I'm waiting to see from Anthony if we have anything that's pending. Hang on just a second. Looks like we might have a question. The question is, how or where do you populate the competitive bid numbers to pull the comparison report? That is done through an Excel-based import. So when you want to put in those bid numbers, you can enter them manually if you choose. You can open up the tabs and just do that, or we do have an Excel-based import that if you drop that into an Excel file, we can import that to create those numbers that you saw in the bid results screen. Good question. Okay, got another question coming in. Hang on just a second here. Is it imperative to have all estimate items coded with a job cost ID for scheduling exports? It is not. If you have the job cost ID coded, if you're talking about scheduling with regards to Microsoft Project in Primavera, we're basically taking the line items out with the durations that you create as you put your crews and things in there and sending that information out. That does not have to have a job cost ID for scheduling exports. That's done totally on the other option. You can do it without job cost IDs and send it out. And then if you want to come in later and cost code your bid and put your job cost IDs in to get it out to your accounting system, you can do that as well. Good question. Yeah, hopefully we've given you some tips today and help you get the information both in and out of our system. But basically, we know, again, I was a trainer for a long time with the company. I know how much time people put into getting all this data into all those third-party products. So hopefully, you can see how there's some ways that we can save this. With this, the next question is, will this input into Sage software? And the answer is yes. We have estimate exports into all the Sage products, Sage 50, 100, Sage 300, the old Timberline products. The answer there is absolutely. We have Sage exports. And that's also from the operations platform as well. As you're doing the job, we can push your timesheets actually into Sage from the operations platform, the tracking system that I showed you as well. All right, it looks like we are good to go, guys. Thank you again, and again, keep a lookout for the 30-minute expert series webinars that are going to be coming up. We're going to try to do those once a month. Again, for all those folks that are out there that are current customers, hope to see you at the user conference in March. Take care.